Hey everyone, quick question for you. When is Aviation Day? Now, you might think that's a simple question, but the answer is actually pretty surprising. Today, we're going to unravel why there are two right answers and what that tells us about the entire story of flight. Let's dive in.
So, you got an answer in your head? Go ahead, think about it for a second. When do we celebrate Aviation Day? Well, whatever date you're thinking of, hold on to it, because the answer isn't nearly as straightforward as you think.
Okay, you ready? If you said August 19th, you're absolutely right. But if you said December 7th, guess what? You're also right. And that's the whole puzzle we're going to solve today. We have two different days celebrating aviation, and we're about to figure out exactly why and what each one really stands for. So let's start with that first date, August 19th. To understand this one, we have to go right back to the very beginning. This part of the story is all about celebrating that initial spark of genius, that moment of invention.
This is America's National Aviation Day. It's on August 19th because that was Orville Wright's birthday. President Franklin D. Roosevelt made it official way back in 1939. And here's the coolest part. Orville Wright was still alive when it happened. Can you even imagine that? Having your own birthday turned into a national holiday to celebrate your life's work while you're still around to see it? That's just incredible.
And things move fast. I mean really fast. It all kicks off in 1903 with that legendary first flight, a whole 120 feet. But by 1921, not even 2 decades later, we already needed a rule book for civilian planes. That just shows you how quickly this idea took off. And then, boom, 1939, FDR makes it official. The Wright brothers' legacy gets its own spot on the calendar. This quote just nails the whole feeling of National Aviation Day. It's not just about the nuts and bolts of the machine, is it? It's about what flying feels like. It's about freedom. It's about adventure. It's about getting away from it all. This day really celebrates the dream of flying.
So, how do you actually celebrate a day like this? Well, NASA's got some awesome ideas. You could kick back and watch a great aviation movie, or maybe build a model airplane. You can hit up a science museum, or hey, if you're feeling really bold, why not finally take that introductory flight lesson you've always talked about? It's all about plugging into that magic. All right, so that's the story of the inventor, the lone pioneer. But that's only half of it. It's just one side of the coin. Now, let's flip it over and look at the other side, the story of how that little spark of genius grew into a system that connects the entire planet. And that brings us to December 7th, International Civil Aviation Day. Right away, you can feel the difference, can't you? This day doesn't celebrate a birthday. It honors the signing of a treaty, the Chicago Convention of 1944. This isn't a day for the inventors. It's a day for the diplomats, the engineers, and the regulators.
And look, it is impossible to overstate just how huge this agreement was. It is literally the blueprint for the entire global air travel system we use every single day. It's the reason a pilot in Japan follows the same basic rules as a pilot in Brazil. It's the invisible architecture that makes global travel possible at all. And what does that system look like in the real world? Well, it looks like 4.4 billion people getting on commercial flights just last year. Every single one of those journeys, whether you're flying across the state or across the ocean, relies on the rules that were hammered out in Chicago all those years ago.
And the economic impact, I mean, the numbers are just staggering. This system supports nearly 87 million jobs worldwide. It generates over $4 trillion. We're talking about almost 4% of the entire global economy. So this day is about celebrating a massive, vital engine of modern civilization.
Okay, so we have two totally different days. One's for the lone inventor, the other's for the global committee. How do these two things even fit together? Well, it turns out you absolutely cannot have one without the other.
Let's rewind for a second. Go all the way back to that first spark of an idea. A flight that covered just 120 feet. That's shorter than the wingspan of a 747. It was this tiny, brilliant, world-changing moment. The seed for everything to come.
And now, look what that seed grew into. Last year alone, we flew over 8 trillion revenue passenger kilometers. I mean, just try to wrap your head around that number. From 12 feet to 8 trillion kilometers. A leap that massive doesn't happen just with invention. It needs a system. It needs cooperation. So let's just break it down side by side. National Aviation Day, August 19th, is all about celebrating the person, the pioneer. It's about the American spirit of invention. International Civil Aviation Day, December 7th, is all about the system, the treaty, the rules, the global cooperation that keeps us all safe. One celebrates the spark, the other celebrates the framework that lets the fire burn bright. And here's the bottom line. This is why all of this matters. These two things are totally dependent on each other. You see, without the crazy dreamers, like the Wright brothers, you never get off the ground in the first place. But without the practical rule makers and diplomats, you get chaos in the skies. There's just no modern air travel as we know it.
So, what does this tale of 2 days teach us as we look ahead? Well, the next generation of challenges in aviation are going to demand both of these things, innovation and cooperation, more than ever before.
Just look at the goals the International Civil Aviation Organization has set for 2050. 0 fatalities, air travel for everyone, and net zero carbon emissions. Think about what it's going to take to hit that net zero target. It's going to demand some radical, out-of-the-box inventions, that Wright brothers spirit we celebrate on August 19th, but it's also going to require a massive, coordinated global agreement, the exact kind of cooperation we honor on December 7th.
And that really leaves us with one final big question, doesn't it? This powerful duo, a breakthrough idea combined with a global agreement to manage it, that's a formula that can be applied to so many things, not just aviation. So what do you think is the next first flight for humanity? What's our next great leap? And what's the next Chicago convention we're going to need to make that future a reality for everyone?